Everybody, and welcome to today's Family Office Roundtable. I am Kat Delgadillo here to co-host our event with our CEO, Hall Martin, who's going to give you a little more background about what we do here at 10 Capital. Hall?
Hey, Kat, thanks for setting this up for today, and I want to welcome everybody to another great event here at 10 Capital. We have a great set of presenters and looking forward to your feedback here from the audience as well. Before we do that, let's talk more about 10 Capital and what we're all about. For those who are new to us, what we do is we help startups and investors connect for funding. Next slide. This is one of our online events, and we'll talk more about those here in a moment. But at heart, what we do at 10 Capital is we help startups and investors come together, and we help the startup prepare with fundraise strategy. We help build due diligence and analyst reports. We do analysis on the pitch deck, the website, and other things in order to prepare them for talking to investors. In short, we provide the legwork, saving you time and money. Next slide. We also help form capital for the early stage ecosystem. We help high net worth start family offices as they invest in emerging managers. We help VC funds find limited partners, mostly from high net worth and family offices. And we help angel groups find members. So we're trying to bring more capital to the table for startup funding and investing. Next slide. We have several events that we put on each month. This is the Family Office Roundtable. It's geared toward topics related to the family office. I'll be giving a presentation later today about the family office topic around risk. Also, we have the virtual quick pitch. Each company gets 10 minutes to pitch and 5 minutes of Q&A, and then we have breakout rooms at the end. The virtual quick pitch is primarily for technology companies. And then we have a similar one for life science companies called the Life Science Syndicate. This is the one we often do on the second Wednesday of each month. And we also do an investor education series where we focus on a topic relevant to investors, as well as have a few pitches. And finally, we do have in-person events. We just finished with the Bay Area event last week, had a great turnout there in Palo Alto, and we'll be on our way out to the next one, which will be New York City, October 14th. Then we'll be in Houston, November 6th, and then we'll be in LA on December 11th. So if you go to 10capital.group and click on the events button, you'll see all the events that we have available. Next slide. If you're a startup and interested in investing or joining our program to raise funding, click on that QR code or take a picture with your camera with it and fill out the form. We'll follow up to see if this program is a good fit for you. Next slide. At the end, we'll give you a survey. We really want to hear your feedback. Please answer the survey. Give us more information about these companies as well as the program. And we'd like to know more about what you think about the companies that are presenting. Next slide. We also have a chat box. We have an Investor Connect podcast program. We've interviewed over 850 angel VC family offices and others that are in the startup ecosystem. We look at what they invest in, how they invest, and why they invest. And we also do a startup funding espresso. It's a 300-word microblog post that in the time it takes to drink an espresso, you can learn something about startup funding and investing. We've taken all of this content and put it into our AI chatbot called Ava, AI Virtual Assistant. And let's hear more about how it works.
Hi there. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Ava, your personal AI venture assistant. I'm your new best friend in the world of investing in startups, the 10 Capital AI chatbot. I'm here to make your journey through the startup ecosystem easier, faster, and a lot more fun. Need help finding your next big investment? Or maybe you're a founder looking for fundraising tips? I've got you covered. I pull all my knowledge from over 500 blogs, countless podcasts, and even some nifty calculators, like the How Fundable Is Your Startup tool, to give you the answers you need. So how do I work? Easy. You simply go to where I live on startupfundingespresso.com and look for me in the bottom right. As soon as I appear, go ahead and click on me to let me know you're here. And then there you go. All your questions answered at your fingertips. Whether you're into health tech, biotech, life sciences, or any of the other exciting fields out there, I'm equipped to help you navigate the trends, challenges, and opportunities in each one. Got a question? Just ask. And guess what? I even pull insights from the 10 Capital Network podcast on Investor Connect. It's packed with expert advice, success stories, and more, all designed to help you succeed in the venture capital world. So what are you waiting for? Let's chat. I'm here 24/7 to help you find the right answers, connect with great opportunities, and make the most out of your investments. See you on startupfundingespresso.com.
So before we kick off with our first presenter, I'd like to introduce Mohammed Hachicha, who's joining me here on the panel today to ask the questions to the investors. Those in the audience, you can pose your questions in the chat box as well. Mohammed, can you tell us more about yourself and your investment thesis?
Absolutely. Hi, Hall. Hi, everyone. I'm Mohammed Hachicha, founder and CEO of the Crown Acquisition Group. We specialize in helping seed, Series A, and Series B company optimize their finances and operations. We're here to support the companies trying to raise capital and the 10 Capital Network with our panels. If you need any help, don't hesitate to reach out.
Great. Thanks, Mohammed. And we have our first presenter coming up, Sanjay Prasad of Surgery Quality. Sanjay, go ahead and launch your slides and kick off when ready. For those in the audience, you'll have 10 minutes to pitch. We'll time it, and then we'll have 5 minutes of Q&A. We'll start with Mohammed's questions, and then we'll read those from the chat box. Please post those there as well. Go ahead, Sanjay.
Thank you. Sanjay Prasad, practicing surgeon for about 30 years in the Washington, D.C. area. The healthcare system is completely broken. Let me tell you why. Nearly 1 in 3 surgeries today is unnecessary, and it's coming at a cost of nearly $210 billion. And the total surgical market is about $880 billion. Patients are also referred to surgeons who don't necessarily have the best outcomes, and they're getting revision surgery from improper sized implants, infections, and a whole cycle of revision surgeries. And that's coming at a cost of about $300 billion. Why is this happening? It's happening because patients are being referred from their primary care physician to surgeons on the basis of habit, but not objective outcomes data. I want you to meet JD. He was misdiagnosed with a brain tumor. He developed a seizure one night, had an MRI in the emergency room, showed a lesion in the brain. The physicians there thought it was a tumor. He was being referred to the University of Washington for pretty extensive morbid surgery, a craniotomy. We caught this case on a Friday night before the surgery, sent this out to multiple opinions. Multiple neurosurgeons reported back, this is not a tumor, they said, this is a virus. And they suggested repeating the MRI scan. They repeated the MRI the morning of surgery. The lesion was not there anymore, disappeared. And the patient saved unnecessary surgery and all its complications. And the health plan also saved a couple of $100,000. Patients are also unaware of alternative options. Patients who get diagnosed with a colon tumor do get referred to colorectal surgeons today, end up with half their colon removed, ICU stay, possible leak, possible death, high cost. They have no idea that there are other options open to treating that colon tumor. An interventional gastroenterologist can use a colonoscope and reach that tumor, remove it, spare the colon, and get you back to work within a couple days for a fraction of the cost. And if that tumor is of a certain molecular subtype, an oncologist can treat you with pembrolizumab and the tumor actually melts away. These options are just not available to all patients, and they're unaware. The only way to solve this is multidisciplinary, multiple opinions. And that's exactly what our solution is. We have nurses who gather medical records with the patient's permission, imaging. We distribute it to multiple surgeons and oncologists for multiple opinions. And we go even one step further because we take each one of these surgeons who want to enhance their profile. They give us voluntarily their past medical records for the previous year, and de-identified records run through our AI engine, and we produce risk-adjusted outcome scores. So our platform offers not only multiple opinions, but also risk-adjusted outcome scores to the patients and their navigators. Our AI engine is patented. It's a hybrid AI that works with a large language model that's very specific to each specialty, and it works within a rules-based AI governance framework to prevent inaccuracies. So de-identified case records flow in from the surgeon from the previous years, and we get risk-adjusted outcome scores on the other end. This is what the platform looks like, with patients and navigators looking at different options, with an ability to compare one surgeon against another, with recommendations of surgery and also success and complication rates in the past, with a geographic map. Makes a ton of sense to us. We signed a strategic partnership with Tendo, and if you don't know who Tendo is partnered with the largest health institutions in the entire country. And they today help these institutions boost their rankings on US News and World Report and Medicare by improving clinical documentation. Tendo also is partnered with multiple self-insured employers and navigators to the tune of 10 million lives from the likes of Walmart, Walgreens, UPS, and Target. They wish to use not only hospital scoring to enhance how employees get to these institutions and their surgeons, but they wish to use surgery quality surgeon scoring as well. We also have pending partnerships with Mayo Clinic. They wish to present their scoring of their surgeons for complex care to 11.5 million lives on their partnered employer and health plan platforms, similar employees, but also the plans. We also have a relationship with University of Pittsburgh Medical Center. Their AI governance committee has reviewed our platform, given us an excellent grade. We anticipate sharing of records for scoring in early 26 and presentation to United Healthcare, UPMC Health Plan, and Cigna members. We also have a pending partnership with Vori Health, and if you don't know who they are, they do orthopedic prehab, which means they take care of musculoskeletal issues from members at multiple Blue Cross plans. They wish to use surgery quality scoring to get them to the best surgeons within those plans. We're really excited about where we are. The revenue model is a $2,500 per month fee from each hospital for marketing that's folded into the Tendo invoicing, a nominal fee from each surgeon for a year of surgical records per year. And most of our revenue comes from employers and health plans that pay us $1,000 per surgery that comes through the system. And they do that to save $500 per member per year. So that translates to a $20 million investment and a $50 million savings. Why? Because they eliminate unnecessary surgery, uncover alternative options, and get surgery done minimally invasive with speedy recovery. Our competitors are very similar to Tendo. They help employees at self-insured employers connect to bundled surgical services, but they're using generalized quality data from Medicare and claims. They could certainly use surgery quality scoring and become a partner of ours, just like Tendo. We've raised $7 million to date. I've invested 2.5 of my own money. We are enterprise level and market ready. We run within an ultra high HIPAA compliant umbrella, high trust, and on an EKS cluster, all applications auto scale upon demand. The projections are robust, about $1 million by the end of the year, simply because we're in conversations with Mayo Clinic and also have very large populations with Tendo. And the growth happens simply because we're dealing with large populations as we grow. We're raising $3 million. We've raised $7 million to date. The $3 million is going to be used for sales and marketing, onboarding surgeons. Tendo has introduced us to Ortho Forum, 4,000 surgeons that we're in the process of scoring right now, from Mayo Clinic and UPMC implementation as well. We'll expand the Gen AI models and obviously payroll support. Potential exits include acquisition by United Healthcare, or we may proceed to an IPO. Our team is world-class serial entrepreneurs that have experienced multiple exits to Optum and Walmart. I've written 2 books on the subject. Resetting Healthcare is really all about this platform. All in all, we're bringing transparency to the healthcare system. We're empowering patients with smart, intelligent information so they make the right choice, avoid unnecessary surgery, and make the right choice to the surgeon. We're trying to make the healthcare journey better for the next generation. Thank you so much.
Great. Great presentation, Sanjay. With that, let's go to Mohammed. Mohammed, what's your first question?
Hey, Sanjay, thank you for the presentation. I'm sorry, I don't mean to come across as combative on the numbers, but your financial projections show revenue growing from 1 million to 180. That's an unusual steep curve in healthcare IT. So what would be the 1 or 2 milestones or partnership that will give you confidence that you're gonna get there?
Yeah, I think the relationship with Mayo Clinic is going to be key because once we corner the Mayo Clinic relationship, I can't see another health institution not wanting to jump to join.
My experience with healthcare is that these types of contracts, especially at scale, take a lot of time to kind of get ironed out and put into place. Do you think that like there is regulatory pressure or a need that will make it go faster on their end?
Well, I don't know that there's regulatory pressure, but hospitals today are hurting into their bottom line, and they're looking for ways to boost revenue. And outcome scoring is one way to drive revenue from Fortune 500 companies, but outcome scoring can also be used at payer negotiation time. I didn't touch on that, but they can leverage the outcome scoring during times of payer negotiation.
Sorry, last question, hold. That's actually one of the points where I think there will be a lot of friction because trying to have surgeons, hospitals, payers, and patients all aligning around outcome scoring, it's a lot of stakeholders with competing incentives, isn't it?
There are some competing incentives, but in general, I think, look, surgeons want to see more cases that are coned down to their area of expertise. Hospitals want more cases that are complex, not the simple ones, because they can't make money. Plans want to reduce costs. We understand that. We weed out unnecessary surgery, and we also get them connected to the best outcome surgeon. So we were able to lower costs in that way. So really everybody wins. The ones that lose are the ones that are doing inefficient care, poor outcomes, where patients need revision surgeries.
Got it. Thank you.
Great. So my first question, Sanjay, is what kind of customer ROI numbers are you seeing with the early customers so far? What are they getting from this?
Yeah, they're getting a 15 to 20% reduction in unnecessary surgeries. So right off the bat, you can take their surgical spend and carve out 15 to 20%, which is pretty significant, quite significant. We're looking at a savings of probably about $500 to $1,000 per member per year. It may not sound like a lot, but when you talk about large numbers, big health plans, it's quite a chunk of change.
Right. And how do you drive adoption with this? What's your approach to the hospital or to the surgeon groups to get them to sign up?
I think you just have to engage with the strategy officers at the hospitals, and obviously they're all under one electronic medical record system. We connect directly to the system and feed them outcomes data. They also have veto rights in terms of by CPT code. If they don't like the scoring, they can opt out of certain procedures. So we give them that ability as well.
And who owns that data? Is it the hospital, the surgeon, or you, or all of the above? How does the ownership work out?
Yeah, so it's de-identified data that's pulled from the electronic medical record system. And the data we house for 7 years, it helps them with malpractice cases as well. So we have the data, we own the data for 7 years, then we purge it.
Okay. And have you any pushback against the data play here? Are we seeing any pushback on having that much data go out, or everybody's just happy to give it to you?
Yeah, so it's interesting. Mayo Clinic works data behind glass, so we can actually take our Gen AI models and work within their infrastructure without any data transfer. So more sophisticated health systems are beginning to develop that, which is really exciting.
Have you had any pushback on the use of AI in these places? AI has been known to hallucinate, guess, and make other false readings of it. How do you limit that?
So we have a rules-based governance framework. So we're always constantly checking our Gen AI models. It's so important. This is so critical for what we're doing.
And so is it very narrowly written and you have safeguards around it, telling it not to hallucinate, or what else can you put into that?
Yeah, I mean, the technologies are continuing to evolve, but rules-based governance frameworks are becoming very, very popular, especially in healthcare.
Okay, very good. Well, that's our 15 minutes. Thanks so much for a great presentation, Sanjay. I know you have to drop off, but we'll see you here soon. And thank you so much for that. Next up will be Angiex. Paul, if you can launch your slides and kick off when ready.
All right.
And we see your slides.
All right. Terrific. Okay, so Angiex, I've got a very exciting company, very exciting drug to tell you about. Angiex was founded by leaders in the field of angiogenesis. That's the formation of new blood vessels. And they discovered a very special biology which enables essentially the mesenchymal transition, which in endothelial cells converts them from the quiescent state in normal vessels to an angiogenic state that's found in tumor vessels. And in addition, the same biology is present in tumor cells when they make the epithelial to mesenchymal transition, which enables them to invade and metastasize. Um, and that biology is perfect for our antibody drug conjugate technology. We've made such a drug, and it enables us to attack two compartments of the tumor, the blood vessels and the tumor cells. And because this biology is only present in tumors of adults, we've been able to have only on-tumor effects so far in the clinic, and we expect that to continue. So the investment case, you get an opportunity to enter now at a low valuation, and successful companies in our space have been valued about 1,000-fold higher. So this is what our drug looks like. We have a state-of-the-art design. Here in blue, you see the antibody that provides homing to the tumor and also internalization. So transport from the cell surface into the nucleus of the cells in the tumor. And once they've reached the nucleus of those cells, then the antibodies are destroyed, and that releases this conjugated payload, which provides the efficacy. And so this slide illustrates our vascular mechanism of action. So we obliterate the small vessels of the tumor, but we also obliterate the large vessels that feed and drain the tumor. And so that's like shutting off the master water valve to a house. No one inside the house can drink. And likewise, when we eliminate those vessels, none of the tumor cells can get nutrients and oxygen. And if we sustain that for a long enough period of days, then you get a mass necrosis in the middle of the tumor, and the tumor shrinks down. And by this method, we can shrink any tumor to the size of a pinhead, potentially, and render it harmless. So we also target essentially all invasive and metastatic tumor cells, which constitute the majority of tumor cells in most late-stage cancer patients. And so as a result, we've got higher and broader tumor cell expression than any other known oncology target. And so great potential to get the benefit of tumor cell killing across a very large number of patients. We have an initial indication for approval, advanced angiosarcoma. This is the cancer of the endothelial cells. 100% of angiosarcoma cells are high expressors and are expected to be sensitive to our drug. This is a rare orphan cancer, and there's currently no approved drug for this cancer. And the existing drugs that are used off-label for it work very poorly. So the bar to approval extremely low. So great opportunity to have a very rapid course to approval. And our current manufacturing supply chain is capable of serving this market. And so we can get to approval potentially as early as 2027 in this indication. And now we've got a side benefit of our drug when we injure the tumor blood vessels. We inflame the tumor with an immunologically warm profile that greatly increases the response rate to immune checkpoint inhibitors. These are drugs that currently sell $50 billion per year, but they only work in 12% of patients. And in preclinical models, we turn immunologically cold models that are non-responsive. We make them responsive at a 70 to 80% response rate. So we're very interested to see how that will do. This is where we're at in the clinic. We're currently dosing patients at this level, which we believe is the optimal dose, and expect to be the recommended phase 2 dose, the ultimate label dose as a monotherapy. We're also starting in November dosing for combination arms with Keytruda and Yervoy. And then we have patients on trial at this lower dose where we think we can still generate responses and extend lifespan substantially. So multiple opportunities to get to responses very soon. Getting to those responses is the major value inflection in the life of an oncology therapeutics company. So most companies that are early in the clinic, like us, are valued below $100 million. But once you get proof of concept, then the average oncology company is valued at about $400 million, so about tenfold higher than today. And ADC companies have been valued higher than that in the single-digit billions. And we expect to have that proof of concept by the end of March. So we're quite close, about 6 months from potentially a tenfold higher valuation. And then after approval, ADC companies have been consistently valued above 10 billion, and so some of them 1,000-fold higher than we are today. So the financing strategy will go in parallel. We're basically doing just-in-time financings, raising about $5 million per quarter to maintain runway. And then once we have the proof of concept, then we'll raise larger financings. We're expecting those to include an IPO around the end of 2026. Typically, for biotechs developing drugs, there will be a co-marketing partnership done about a year before approval. Those have been running with billion-dollar upfront, so that's when the company becomes profitable. And then after approval, you have additional revenue. So, so the likely dilution from here, we'll have to raise about $150 million, which we believe we'll be able to do at a valuation north of 400 million, so maybe 30% dilution. So our team is outstanding. I'm a 4-time entrepreneur, a former scientist at MIT, Berkeley, and Harvard, author of a best-selling book. I'm assisted on the executive side by Ian Dukes, who led business development at Amgen and Merck, and then became a CEO at a number of companies. Our chief medical officer formerly led oncology research at one of the Harvard hospitals. Our CFO, a longtime investment banker at Goldman Sachs and elsewhere, and 4-time CFO in Biotech. And then our CMC team, the best in the business, led manufacturing quality at the top ADC companies on the East and West Coast, between them 7 approved ADCs, $70 billion of acquisitions. And our scientific founders have made the top 2 discoveries in the field of angiogenesis. So we're currently completing one prior financing. We'll probably, as I mentioned, we're looking to do $5 million per quarter until we have compelling data, in which case we'll do a larger round from institutional investors. And the use of funds, we're basically putting in place our path to approval. We're getting the major cancer centers activated, including MD Anderson, Washington University of St. Louis, Cleveland Clinic, the University of Southern California in Los Angeles, and others. And we're also getting our commercial manufacturing and quality process in place. So It's an exciting moment for us. There's a lot of cancer patients who need our drug. One of them who would have benefited was my mother, who died at age 33 from cancer. I keep her picture next to my monitor to remind me to work hard. And, uh, but there's a lot of other cancer patients we can help. And just this morning, I was looking at an angiosarcoma patient who had his legs amputated because there's just no good way to treat the tumor and it's highly metastatic. So the amputation was thought to be the best way to save his life. And, we can do much better than that. So all we need is capital, and I hope you'll help us. Thank you.
Your presentation, Paul. Mohammed, what are your questions first?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Paul, for the presentation. Quick question. You're pursuing angiosarcoma first. What
Yeah.
makes that the right entry point, and how quickly do you see this expanding into, let's just say, broader solid tumors?
Yeah, so we will be doing expansions in all solid cancers. So, I think we'll be proving by March that our drug can benefit just about every solid cancer patient. What makes angiosarcoma the best is all three mechanisms of action will work extremely well here. And angiosarcoma is unique in that all endothelial cells express TM4SF1, and as a cancer of endothelial cell origin, all angiosarcoma cells, so far as we can tell, express it at high levels. So the transition to cancer tends to upregulate TM4SF1 20-fold. And, so basically we expect every tumor cell to be sensitive, and that's not the case in other cancers where the most malignant tumor cells are sensitive to our drug, but not every tumor cell is. So that's one benefit. The other benefit, this very low bar to approval. So the bar for accelerated approval, we have to beat a 5 to 9% response rate and a median progression-free survival of 3 months. For full approval, we have to beat an overall survival of 13 months. The 5-year survival rate is below 12%. It's lower than that of pancreatic cancer and glioblastoma. So, it's one of the highest unmet need cancers. So it's just a very low bar to approval. Will probably work better in this than any other cancer because of the tumor cell expression. And then the third reason is that the critical path to approval is actually not the clinical data, it's the manufacturing and quality requirements. And our existing supply chain can meet the commercial requirements for angiosarcoma about a year ahead of the larger scale supply chain we would need to address larger market cancers like pancreatic cancer, lung cancer, breast cancer, liver cancer. So, so there's a bunch of reasons why this is a great way to start, but we're definitely not going to end there. It's our first to approval indication, but we'll seek approvals in many other indications quickly afterward.
Thank you. And final question. You alluded to the point that you were thinking of an IPO in late 2026. Excuse maybe my lack of knowledge in this space, but isn't it an aggressive timeline to go public? Like, aren't there requirements that need to be met before that? That would, like, 2026 is around the corner already. So I'm just wondering.
So, so the internal requirements like PCAOB audits and various quality public company quality controls, we're either meeting or are preparing to meet. So we're in good shape there. I would say the two key requirements, one is we have to have the strong clinical data that, gives the company a strong, base of support. And, because without good clinical data, the public markets can be a little schizophrenic and overreact to individual news items. But I think we'll have that good data by next spring or next summer at the latest. And then you have to, do enough financings in advance of the IPO that, you don't have to slow down through a quiet period and lockup period and, all those other things. So, there will need to be preparatory financings, including a crossover financing, to put in place the right syndicate and the right runway. So I don't think we can do it before fourth quarter of 2026, and that's contingent upon, like I said, getting these strong clinical data by March. But I think we're definitely have it in our sights, and we're preparing for a late 2026 IPO.
Thank you.
Great. My question is, you listed as orphan eligible. Can you tell us more about what that means?
Yeah, so the orphan designation has a lot of benefits, regulatory benefits and exclusivity benefits. There's a 7-year extension of exclusivity, which is similar to a patent life extension. And so it's a very valuable designation. And cancers are basically eligible for it if there are fewer than 200,000 people with the cancer, and angiosarcoma is an ultra rare indication, with a 1-year survival and, a little over 1,000 patients per year. There's only a few thousand patients who have it. So, well under the bar for approval. But in fact, in cancer, most of the deadliest indications like glioblastoma or pancreatic cancer are eligible for the orphan designation because they kill people quickly enough that there aren't enough around with the cancer.
I guess you. Great. That's our time. Thanks so much for a great presentation. We'll move to our next presenter now, the Shape Sensing Company. Ryan, if you could launch your slides and kick off when ready.
All right. Thank you, Paul. All right. Pleasure to be here. My name is Ryan DeBoer. I'm the CEO of the Shape Sensing Company. We've developed a technology that uses fiber optics to turn ordinary surgical tools into smart devices. It allows doctors to know the real-time location and movement of those devices during minimally invasive procedures while the devices are inside the body. So we've got a strong team that's building this platform. Our co-founders have been working together for 12 to 15 years in advanced electronics and photonics. They had an exit from their first company, which was an advanced electronics company, and they spun out their second company, which was a photonics company that still exists today, with major collaborations with NASA and big companies like Airbus and Boeing. And in 2020, they spun out the Shape Sensing Company, where we focus on medical interventions with fiber optic shape sensing. I joined the company 2 years ago. My background is in medtech commercialization. I was with St. Jude Medical and Boston Scientific for 15 years, followed by some time at a digital health startup, leading sales and marketing. And together, we're not building a smart device, but we're building a platform that's going to unlock an entire new generation of smart devices. So let's get into why we need smart devices. The doctors today are using outdated technologies to navigate flexible tools in minimally invasive procedures. The gold standard is X-ray, which is a 130-year-old technology. Of course, uses radiation to perform the visualization. It is only two-dimensional, and it's got these gray, grainy images that don't really give good context of how devices move. There's also point trackers that are used in a number of procedures, and those only provide visualization of the distal tip of a device, not the entire device. And they also require external sensors, so that impacts workflow, and they're all susceptible to interference. And finally, they have these limited visibility cameras that exist at the end of some devices like endoscopes. And those cameras only give a picture of what's going out the distal tip. So they don't provide any context for what's happening behind the camera. So this limited visibility ends up leading to a lot of guesswork in navigation. Guesswork in navigation is inefficient and leads to longer procedures. And we know that longer procedures have more anesthesia requirements, more radiation exposure, higher costs, and in the end, higher complication rates. So it's not a surprise that doctors today and the industry are demanding better, right? Safer, smarter, faster procedures. And we can see that with the latest market trends of radiation reduction technologies, more robotics for precision, more AI and automation for efficiencies. And these trends exist all across specialties. Dr. Gable is one of our clinical advisors, and he's got a great quote here saying that hospitals need systems that make procedures faster, safer, and more efficient. And he shares that opinion, of course, with all doctors. It seems like it's a no-brainer, but the doctors are still demanding better. Well, if we look at what's available today, there are only 2 companies that have a solution for radiation-free, full-length 3D device guidance in their tools, and that's Philips Healthcare and Intuitive Surgical. They're using a technology called fiber optic shape sensing to provide this capability. Unfortunately, these are closed systems that they, not surprisingly, aren't sharing their IP with any customers or any companies outside of these 2. So they're proving the clinical demand. You can see Philips here, I'm sorry, the clinical need value. Philips here showing that they've shown reducing radiation exposure by 70% and reducing procedure time by 37% in endovascular aneurysm repair procedures. Intuitive is also showing the market demand with 35,000 procedures in the second quarter of 2025. So these are high demand systems. They're charging a premium for them, and they're gaining an adoption. Now, outside of the fact that they are not sharing this IP outside these 2 companies, it's also a very expensive technology, the way they're doing it. Their sensor costs are limiting this technology to only target these high margin procedures, which makes it really not scalable to the masses. Well, that's where we come in. We've got a fiber optic shape sensing technology that's going to unlock the entire rest of the industry for all specialties. Our tech is the only other version of this technology, and we're able to work with all the other strategics out there. The goal, of course, similar to what's out there today, is that we want to increase precision in navigation, reduce procedure time, and reduce the complication rate. And unlike that other version of the tech, ours is a lower cost version, which means 1, we can have a higher margin on these high value procedures, but we can also target the high volume, lower cost procedures that have lower reimbursements. And again, since we are the only other version out there, anyone that's competing with Philips and Intuitive that wants to offer this capability has to come to us. So let me show you what it looks like here. So on the left, you see one of my teammates moving a sensor in space, and on the right, you've got a real-time visualization of that same sensor. It, in effect, creates a digital twin of the sensor. Now, when we add imaging, we can give it some procedural context. So let me explain what's going on here. On the bottom, we've got a 3D printed aorta. This came from a CT scan that was done, for example, pre-procedurally. On the top, we have a digital rendering of that same aorta. And then we took our sensor and we put it into a guide wire, which you can see on the bottom screen is in the iliac artery. And on the top, you can see the guide wire sensor is in pink. I'm going to play this now. And as the wire is navigated up through this aorta, it's updated in real time in the digital version, allowing the doctor to know the exact location of the device inside the anatomy, but more importantly, to know the orientation so that when the doctor is navigating the device, he or she can better understand the direction it's pointing and navigate it more efficiently. So that's the 3D guidance we can offer, but really that's just the beginning. That same data can also be applied to robotics, where we can provide closed loop feedback control so that when robots are navigating devices themselves, they know if the tip is doing what they're trying to command the tip to do. And beyond that, we've got the ability to create or unlock future smart surgery capabilities like personalized care, AI-assisted navigation on autonomous procedures. And that's because the data that we're capturing from the shape sensing is what allows these capabilities to exist. There's actually a line of thinking that autonomous robotic procedures for flexible devices cannot happen without fiber optic shape sensing because the robots need that data from the full length of the device. So the market we're targeting here is absolutely enormous. We've identified 100 million procedures globally every year that could benefit from our technology, which we estimate is roughly a $15 billion total market. In the near term, we're targeting a 5-year market capture of over $90 million in our early target markets. And that's by placing roughly 800 to 1,000 of our systems. Now, our business model is pretty straightforward. We start by working with major medical manufacturers and help them integrate our technology into their platforms. We then sell them our hardware to deploy out into the field. And on an ongoing basis, we sell them our sensors for use in their procedures. So this creates a high value recurring revenue model. And with every application we get into the field, it provides further validation of the technology, which then brings us more partners. So it's a positive feedback loop that's going to grow our revenue quickly. And it's important to note that as a technology provider, we don't have any requirements for the FDA. Our customers will own all regulatory requirements, and we will support them, of course, as they go through that process, which will likely be 510Ks for all the submissions. But TSSC, as a company, does not have any requirements. So this high growth feedback model is already underway. We have 9 major medical manufacturers who have purchased our over $100,000 R&D kits for development, which is for validation and product planning. In those recent sales and projects, we've now reached about 5x year-over-year revenue from last year, reaching roughly $1 million to date, and expect to have even higher than that by the end of the year. And we've also validated the technology. We took our platform into the X-ray lab with a vascular surgeon clinical advisor. And we turned off X-ray and we asked the doctor to navigate a guide wire in a phantom model to the renal artery. And he was able to successfully do so repeatedly. The technology has been validated to work. In terms of external validation, we received the 2023 award from the Angel Capital Association, which was the award for disruptive innovation. And last year, we were part of the prestigious MedTech Innovator 2024 cohort, which was a great honor. Now, in terms of IP, we're in a very strong position. The IP we own is largely around the sensor design, and that is what separates our IP from the Philips and Intuitive IP. They share their version of the technology, which they split along the lines of robotic and non-robotic procedures. Our IP we own fully, and we have both robotic and non-robotic access, and those patents were from 2020, so we have several years left. We've also completed our own freedom to operate evaluation with an external counsel, and 2 of our customers have done so as well. So a little bit about where we came from. I mentioned that we spun out of our parent company in 2020. That was with Friends and Family round. We completed a Series A in 2023. That was with a VC and a strategic on our cap table. And now we're raising a $2 million safe. And the exit plan is we've got potential for a strategic exit or exit 2 strategics in the next 2 to 4 years based on the first early customers we're working with. And our comp there is the dollar amount that Philips and Intuitive paid for the technology when they first purchased it as an asset purchase. If we go beyond 2 to 4 strategic customers, then we're more likely looking at an exit via PE roll-up. That'd be in the 4 to 6 year timeline based on revenues in the $25 to $50 million. That's the minimum number we're targeting. As I mentioned before, we would really aiming for over $90 million in revenue by 2030. And beyond that, of course, the opportunity is for an IPO. In terms of this raise, like I said, it's a $2 million raise, and the goal here is twofold. One, we need to get through this first commercial launch and set up manufacturing, but the really important step here is to expand our team so we can take on more partners. As I mentioned, we've got 9 major strategics who have purchased our R&D equipment. We're working to commercialize our first version of that. We expect our first commercial deal to sign this fall. And with all the other customers we have in the pipeline, we need to expand the team so we can bring them on. Over the past 2 years, I've had about 50 meetings with different companies who've reached out to us to explore shape sensing for their application. So the pipeline is full. We just need the bandwidth to be able to take them on. And I've got some additional slides for any questions, but that sums up where we are. So I'd be happy to take any questions.
Great. Mohammed, what's your first question?
Ryan, thank you for the presentation. Quick question. Hospitals are known to be cautious about workflow disruption. I would say they're probably the ones who are the slowest at adopting new technology. So how will your shape sensing system integrate into existing surgical workflows without slowing the procedure?
Yeah, that's a great question. As technology providers, we will have to work with our strategic customers to ensure that it is the very minimal, if not zero, workflow disruptions. We had a chance to visit a procedure that utilizes the Philips system and got to see some of the ways that they were able to incorporate it. And our goal is to surpass their workflow implementations and have minimal. So each application is going to be a little bit different, but I guess the short answer is we acknowledge it. And we're working with all of our customers to make it as little as possible.
And just out of curiosity, this is just me thinking out loud. Is it easier for you with this new technology coming, right? Like, especially in healthcare, right? AI tools that are much more advanced than before. Is it easier to kind of get introduced or be part of a hospital that is being built right now rather than entering into a hospital that's already kind of operating? Like my model is like, is there new kind of hospitals that are being built right now that are tech ready and that like want to take on this technology that they know is being built, that incumbents or old hospitals might not actually be in a position, like it would create too much disruption to try to implement those technologies?
Yeah, that's a really great question, and pertinent to where both Hall and I are from in Austin. The Dell Medical School is actually in the process of designing their new hospital, and yes, they have been very explicit that they are interested in all the latest and greatest. They want to have the best technologies. As a technology supplier, we are going to have limited ability to work with those new hospitals because we have to go through our strategic customers who will be the eventual vendors to that hospital. But we certainly encourage that as an entry point into hospitals who are interested in having the latest and greatest.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Ryan.
Hey, Ryan, great presentation. My question is, you're going after a very large market. What is the ideal customer profile for that beachhead market in that go-to-market? Who are you looking for in the initial stages?
Yeah, thanks for that question. So our early target markets are vascular and endoscopic applications in both manual and robotic procedures. So our ideal customer, again, our customers are strategic major medical device manufacturers. The larger the device manufacturer, the greater the reach they have and the ability to deploy our technology within their systems. Now, granted, we understand that larger companies move a little bit more slowly and we don't have as much control over that. So we actually like working with very well-funded startups who are used to working at a faster pace. So that's a lot of our early customers while we're still moving these other strategics along the way since they move a little slower.
Great. And that's our time. Thanks so much for a great presentation.
Thank you.
And we have next Aviana Vanaja. If you could launch your slides and kick off when ready. And we see your slides now. You're on mute. You're on mute, Vanaja. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Go ahead and kick off.
Yeah. Well, I was just saying that, Hall, I've been very impressed with all the presentations that came by before me today. And so it's good to be in such a group of excellent technology. We're presenting really a novel diagnostic technology that is going to transform healthcare. It's an affordable diagnostic and it's a precise and it's based electronics. So it could be miniaturized to really fit in your pocket at some point. Not going down, sorry. Don't know why I'm not going down.
Try the down arrow, page down.
It's not working. Okay, there we go. So we just, I want to tell you the current rapid point of care is evolving. It's a huge market. It's about a $40 billion market. And the problem is that pretty much everything was found at COVID, that basically at COVID, we use this old technology, which is a lateral flow test. And that's been around for like over 60 years. So it's a qualitative immunologic technology. It's not quantitative, and it provides a light-based system. We're doing something completely different. We're using an electronic system called the surface acoustic wave, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. Currently, in most cases, the doctor will order a test. It's a very bureaucratic system. The doctor orders the test. Blood is drawn by the patient either in the doctor's office or in a Quest type lab situation. It goes to a central lab where it's batch tested, returned back to the doctor, and then the doctor has to meet with you. So you could see that there could be delay of several days in an outpatient setting and several hours in a hospital setting. This exposes weaknesses in the testing procedure, and COVID actually exposed significant weaknesses in testing in both individual patients and also in a public health system. It's really not adapted to the emerging health and technologies and cannot adapt to these changes. We talk about a couple of companies that are in this area, but the problem is that there's still a qualitative technology. Also, even though its diagnostics make up 20% of healthcare costs, they affect about 80% of medical decisions. So what we're doing is we're converging advances in diagnostics and semiconductor electronics together. It's a perfect storm, we call it, because we're using radio frequency waves in order to make the diagnosis. So both the RF and digital hardware are fast and small and low cost. We're using something called surface acoustic wave chips, and those are made in the billions every year. We can use a wide range of analytes from very small molecules like cholesterol all the way to cancer cells, because the technology that we're developing is called a mass loading technology. It's based on cellular communication chips, and as I mentioned, about 20 of them are found in your cell phone in order to filter acoustic radio frequency and to your IP address. There's immediate connectivity to stakeholders, and it's portable. It's really critical that it's portable. It could be miniaturized because it's all electronics. As you know, a camera was a big camera and now it's a chip. It's a direct test. There's very little sample processing, if anything. We use very small sample size. It's accurate, and we get the data in less than 10 minutes. It's seamless to the website, and it's based on OEMs that make billions every year. So what is the technology? So we have a radio frequency generator called a reader. This is not in proportion. The reader obviously is bigger than the chip. It sends a radio frequency signal to the chip, which is then transformed into a surface acoustic wave. We have an updated chip. We'll talk about that in a minute. That was developed for NASA. That data is returned, and so we get a constant amount of data. It can be multiplexed because it's the frequency changes over a time delay can be measured. The data is really a time series. It's collected in sub-nanosecond time resolution. The full chip reading is in a few seconds, and we can use artificial intelligence to enhance both the sensitivity of the chip and also the data that we generate out of the chip and the analytical. So what happens is that the real-time binding data as it occurs is actually being translated into a full reading. It's a measurement of electronics like phase, amplitude, and delay. So it's 3 dimensions of data. And in our case with Lyme disease, we found a very nice signal to noise ratio. So we use a software called coherent integration, which is also used in astrophysics. We're also going to use clinical data to improve our diagnostic methodology and to be able to evaluate progression of disease in different geographic areas and other important, epidemiological data. So the data came out of development for a wireless chip that NASA wanted for its shuttle program because of the millions of wires. They wanted a passive chip that can live both in space temperature and also at launch temperature. And the University of Central Florida Engineering Division created the surface acoustic wave chip and optimized it use in within NASA, and we've taken that, and it's taken us a while. This is very difficult technology, but we've been able to make it work in the biological diagnostic system. We hope to be out in space one day. Our go-to-market strategy is scale for growth. I have experience at working at the Food and Drug Administration as a medical officer, and I think, and we want to be able to do quantitative testing, but we want to be able to do it in a phase. So our first system is going to be within the lab, where we create system that we already have and make it commercially available for the lab. It's ready for clinical data and it's the quickest path to revenue. We've decided to launch a Lyme test in the labs as our first product, and we'll show you why we decided to do that. The phase 2 is will require further clear waiver for outside the lab, and we plan to use that in women's health and other areas of high need. For instance, preeclampsia is one area that will be our second product. We don't want to be a one-product company. We want to have follow-on products. And we also focus on products for pharmacy and physicians' offices. Our phase 3 will be to miniaturize the chip and attach it to a smartphone so it can be taken anywhere. We don't want to go to home use. What we want to do is to go to use in the field, for instance. Traumatic brain injury is an area of interest to us. So what is the problem with Lyme testing? There's up to the problem with Lyme is it's been growing, and with climate change, it's now in the Midwest. It's a slow, inaccurate, and costly testing. Many of Lyme patients suffering because of this. It's the 7th most reportable infectious disease in the U.S. Currently, the CDC asks for a 2-step, which is an ELISA and a Western blot, and very high false positives. It's a slow turnaround, a low specificity, and there are insurance issues with poor patient access and high cost. So we're solving that problem by being able to do a single test and with very high sensitivity and specificity. What's the solution is our breakthrough Lyme test. We have one step, and what the reason for this is that we've been able to get a recombinant protein that looks at both early disease, which is IgM, and later disease, which is IgG. We get the results in 15 minutes. It's mostly done in a lab, so we're going after the lab system first. We don't need clear waiver. We can get it with a validation in a lab. We're working with the Westchester Medical Center, which is in the heart of Lyme territory in New York. It works with a single drop of blood. I'll show you. The cost of goods is low because, as I mentioned to you, the sensor is made in the billions and the rest of it is plastic. There is a reader, which is when I first started the company, it was about $25,000. The price has come down to about $1,500, and we believe with high sales we can even get lower. The current legacy methods cost over $70. So the Lyme testing market is growing at a furious rate, and with the increase in incidence of Lyme disease, the growth for accurate measurement and increase in public awareness. And I've been talking to a lot of people in the Lyme world, and I was at the conference, the Mayo Clinic Lyme conference in Chicago recently, and there's a lot of interest in what we're doing. So here's our data. We have 0 false positives in a small subset we've done so far, and we presented this at the Globe Lyme conference recently. There's a strong signal in a very small volume. We don't need a large volume for this. It's effective, and you can see here that it basically is able to test both IgM and IgG because of the nature of this recombinant protein that we've worked with at UCF with Dr. Jewett, who is a Lyme researcher. And the interesting thing is that you don't need to separate the blood. Whole blood is similar to plasma. We've done a comparison study, and it showed that we were better than Euroimmune, which is the ELISA test. So what are our competitors? There is obviously post-COVID, there's a lot of home tests that are being done. Lyme DX, PocDoc, and OneDrop. The Now DX is just a sophisticated lateral flow test, qualitative test, which doesn't require, it separates blood in the cartridge, and so that's their phenomena. iDrop requires a lab benchtop that is sold directly to home use. We don't want to go to home use because I think we don't think we'll have as big a market there. So we have lateral flow, which has a whole bunch of different companies doing that. It's in China, it's made everywhere, but it has a very low sensitivity. The post-COVID home voice test, they don't really give us any sensitivity data at this point. The automated lab-based diagnostics takes hours to days, and they're obviously very good, but they take a long time. Molecular diagnostics, there's now companies going out into the field like iDrop to do this, but they're not portable. They still require a benchtop machine. Of course, the lab-based immunoassays, which are basically ELISAs, also are very good, but they take hours to days. Really in a very unique spot in both a sensitivity and specificity, and the portability. No lab training is needed. We've had interns come and do our study quickly. Or GPS enabled no sample to simple sample prep and a low cost of goods. So we've done a financial projection, and coming from pharma, I'm very conservative. So this is our revenue, but it's based on follow-on products with a test for preeclampsia in the physician's lab, and then eventually going out to the market with something like a traumatic brain injury. So we're looking about for 500,000 right now to 750,000 for our first round, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And then we'll go into with the 3 to 5 million, we'll go into 510K for clinical data. So what we want to do is to do Lyme data for what's called an LDT laboratory derived test. We can actually start selling it, but it's also something that we do where we can get known in the marketplace in Lyme. We'd like the complete system for commercial use, put the skin and so on it. We need to do analytical and GUI software, the AI software. We need to start R&D for future products. The important thing is that we have now been accepted to the Long Island University Accelerator in Brooklyn Heights, and they're going to help us tremendously with the faster development program, and that's why we don't need as much funds initially to get started. So our current group of people are really, at this point, very based on the technology. It's a SAW-based technology. So Josh McConkey has worked at NASA in shuttle programs. He's a SAW expert on hardware. Anand has worked with us for a number of years and has developed the technology and the biology part of it. And so as we grow, and we will be bringing on people that are at the appropriate time of growth with regard to commercial and research-based folks. We know them, we just haven't had a chance to bring them on. So our capital strategy is, as I mentioned, a fast note for 500 to 700,000, followed by tranche 2 will have a higher pre-money valuation. We're hoping to try and collect that. We've done some, comparisons. As I mentioned, now DX PostDoc is a PocDoc is a UK-based health app company that recently raised 6 million, and now DX raised 22.5 million. Lumira DX, several companies started for home use during COVID, but as COVID decreased, their sales fell. And so, but in spite of that, they were purchased for about 355 million by Roche. So that could be an exit strategy, for us. So thank you very much. It's a perfect fit for today's care model. We can be in all sorts of places with our portable technology and rapid assays. Open for any questions.
Great, Mohammed, we have time for one question. What's your question?
First of all, Vanzaya, thank you for the presentation, and I appreciate the conservative approach to your numbers. A lot of people put numbers out there, and yours did look conservative. Quick question. Beyond Lyme, which follow-on test do you see as the fastest path to revenue? And what's your timeline to expand to those?
Yeah, so we're looking at the preeclampsia. We have a biomarker for preeclampsia, which is a very major problem within high-risk pregnancy. This biomarker that we want to license out of, made by a company in Houston, is what's called a rule-in disease. All the other biomarkers are rule out the disease. This one rules in. And it's an interesting model where we would like to use like a Holter monitor, where we loan the reader to the doctor, and we make our money on the cartridges, and the doctor then loans this out to the patients, because, preeclampsia will only last through pregnancy. They turn it and they can reloan it again. So we're going to make our money on the
cartridges.
cartridges. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
I
Great.
have a good analysis of all of that that can be mentioned.
Great presentation, Vinaya, and for everybody, thank you for that. And Mohammed, thank you for great questions as well. We have a short presentation for limited partners, and then we're going to move into breakout rooms. And Mohammed and I will be walking around talking to different people about their presentation. So let me kick off with that right quick, and then we'll jump into the breakout rooms. The topic we're going to talk about today is LP risk exposure. And this is a big issue for the limited partners, mostly the family offices that are out there, is how do you manage the risk that comes with early stage deals? When you're backing early stage funds or startups, there's this asymmetric risk where you have many failures, but only a few big wins. And so there's no limit to the downside protection on this. It's just, it's completely, you could go to zero, and there's very little control over the capital pacing. And one of the things we hear from our family offices is, the risk exposure in early stage deals. And what this does is it says that you have to find some very big wins in order to overcome the many, many others that fail and go under. And one of the things we've done is you need to have this process in place where there's a consistent success that goes with these things. And so that's what we're doing here today is we're going to be talking about the challenge that the LPs have, and then in a moment we'll talk about what 10 Capital does about it. And so limiting the downside is one of the things we're trying to do, and then controlling the capital calls that go into it. And here at 10 Capital we have a model, we call it the 3X and 3, the early exit right. And what it is a 3-year convertible note that at the end of year 3, the investor has a choice of either going on the cap table for equity or going into a revenue share agreement for 3X the investment. So 25 in is 25 on the cap table, or 25 in is 75 on a payout from the deal. And it's a great way to realign and get back aligned with the founder, because many times the founders come along with, it's a rocket to the moon, but 3 years later, well, it's not the rocket ship we thought it is, and they take higher market rate salaries, and what the founder is left on equity island trying to get back to where everyone else is. And this is a mechanism that lets people do that. We call it the 3X and 3 because in 3 years you can potentially get 3X your money. It usually takes 2 or 3 years to pay out, but it is a great model to provide diversification. And so, like I say, it's a convertible note with a redemption right. And redemption rights traditionally have been used at year 5 to basically give money back to the investor, but we're using it at year 3 to let the founder and the investor realign on the same plan. If we're on the equity track, that's great. If we're on the payroll track, well, we're all there together as well. And so it's the use of convertible notes and redemption rights is what we're offering. Like I say, we call it the 3X and 3, and we can talk to you about if this is a fit for your next investment. Would you like to learn more about it? Because it's very capital efficient. And if the money doesn't work out in one company, you're capturing some of that back to put into the next company. And it gives you risk-adjusted returns for the limited partner that might be going into it. So if you have any questions about this, I'll be in a breakout room and glad to talk to people about it. But found that this is one of the biggest challenges family offices face is, how do I get those few wins to outrun the many losses that come in the early stage world. And this is one mechanism that you can use for doing it. With that, let's go back to our breakout rooms. I want to thank everybody for a great presentation today. And with that, I think Kat has us set up to go into breakout rooms. If we are ready, we'll go ahead and we'll see you guys inside and invite the audience to come and join us as well. So just join the breakout room you'd like to go to, and we'll kick off.
Breakout rooms will be open for 15 minutes.